Alright. IR's live. Um, the Fortnite I played earlier worked out pretty good, I think. Except for you could barely hear my music. Next time I'll turn it up. It also sounds like it's in a can. For some reason, I don't know. It sounds like it's in tiny little reverb-ish headphones. Anyways, I've been saving up some Reddits for a while. And I'm like, I'm gonna share them one day. Right, so here's am I sharing it? Yeah, let's just make it big. Get me out of here somehow. Nope, not that way. There we go, that's better. Alright, optical illusion. Is the horse walking towards or away? This one fucks with me. I really think he's walking forward. But it messes with. No, I don't think. I don't know. Maybe he is walking away. I don't know. We're gonna make it big. Is he walking forward or away? He must be walking away. I don't know. It's like whatever I think, it changes to. It's like my belief. If I believe he's walking away, he looks like he's walking away. If I believe he's looking forward, then but it takes my belief to really like see that perspective. I hate it. I hate it. This is another one. Oh, where'd it go? Oh. Stupid music. This one right here really messes with me. I don't understand how somebody can say this is the exact same picture. Like, it kind of looks like the same picture, but it's from like a different angle, right? Like, if I hold up my hand and try to black out the other one, I can see that one now. No, I still cannot get how this is not like manipulated in some way. I, I don't. Do you guys? I don't know. Some people, I guess, see the exact same picture, but it definitely looks like it's from a different angle, and it's not. I don't think it's just. No, it's not just because one's sitting next to the other. I don't know. That won't bother me. So, anyways, okay. Here's one from 11 days ago. Did we die? Um, so this happened about a year ago, and I still think about it all the time. I don't really know how to explain it without sounding crazy, but it's the experience that sent me down the whole quantum immortality rabbit hole. Dear moderators, this story has brief mention of drinking, however, I want to clarify that I was completely sober at the time. Um, about a whole week before the main event, my friend Morgan and I were driving, and a car cut in front of us and kicked up a rock. It hit my windshield literally right in front of my face. For a split second, it felt like the rock almost went through the glass and into my face, even though it didn't. I turned on the windshield wipers thinking maybe it was dust, but there was a chip with a tiny crack coming off of it. We both saw it, talked about how annoying it was, and I didn't worry too much because where I live, windshields get replaced for free all the time. That chip stayed there all week, directly in my line of sight. Fast forward to about a week later, I was supposed to meet Morgan for a night out, but I got out of work late, and by the time I got there, she was already a little drunk. I decided it was better to just drive her home first so I could relax and enjoy the rest of the night without worrying about her. It was raining pretty hard. I was on the highway doing the speed limit. There was about 5 lanes, and I was in the middle of the lane with a bunch of cars behind me. I hydroplaned. I drive a sports car, and I have experience controlling it. I drift corners sometimes, so I know how it responds. But this was different. I started fishtailing across the highway within inches of the median multiple times, like back and forth across all the lanes. We ended up doing a full 180 and were facing the wrong direction in traffic, headlights coming straight towards us. As soon as the car stopped spinning, I booked a U-turn and floored it so he wouldn't get hit. Now, this is the part that really messes with me. Morgan is someone who knocks out instantly when she sleeps. She's incredibly hard to wake up. Like you could be mid-conversation and she's gone. She wakes up the moment she wakes up that moment with a gasp and says, "We got in a 9-car pileup." It's oddly specific, isn't it? 9. Um, I just started. I just stared at her because that absolutely would have happened if we'd hit the highway maybe 10 seconds earlier. After that, everything felt off. While I'm driving, I realized the chip in my windshield was gone, completely gone. The chip that had been right in front of our face for a full week, no cracking, no crack or nothing. I have a dash cam, so I pulled over later and checked the footage. The dash cam records in 2 to 3 minute loops. The entire loop with the hydroplaning, the spinning, her waking up and saying that is just missing. Not corrupted, not half there, just gone. Like it never happened. See, it's so weird. I have kind of the opposite. Like, I had this car. Well, I mean, not really. I don't know how you say it, but I had this car. It was a Plymouth, right before Plymouth quit selling cars. It was like a Corolla. What do they call those? Malibu, Plymouth Malibus. No, it was Chevy Malibu. I forget what it was called. Chevy Geo, a Plymouth Geo. That's what it was. Um. Anyways, I had that, and I was driving to go see somebody a long trip, and I was driving behind this U-Haul that for some reason had its doors chained together, and the doors weren't closed. I guess because the latch on the doors or whatever was broken, so they chained it together. But it wasn't closed, and like it wasn't tight, so it was like flapping back and forth. We were going like 90 miles an hour, and I see like coming out of the door, out of the bottom, there's like a fire hydrant, and think, oh man, that fire hydrant's gonna fall out of there. And as soon as I think that, it fell out and came hurtling right towards my windshield, and I just turned to the right real fast because like to the left there was nowhere to pull over. I was right like in the middle, and it had those like concrete barriers. There was no like pull off side, whatever to pull off to. So I just went to the right, like not even thinking about like who was to my right or behind my right. Um, I did pull out in front of a semi, but luckily there was nobody there. And I remember like that fire hydrant coming right towards my face, right towards the windshield. And when I turned, I missed it. And I guess everybody behind me missed it somehow. But I remember later, like coming home, there was like a little chip in my windshield, like right where that fire hydrant should have hit. And I don't know where that chip came from because I didn't hit the fire hydrant, but I don't know. I just don't know anything. All right, play that funky music, white boy. I don't know if anybody knows. I mean, I guess everybody knows that song, but I guess somebody remembers it being. I can't be the only one that remembers it being Casey and the Sunshine Band that sang it. Amount of Residue is insane, but it's now by a group called Wild Cherry. I couldn't tell anybody either way. I know the song, but I don't remember who played it. It was by a group called Wild Cherry, not Casey and the Sunshine Band. But this guy found a bunch of residue for it. Casey and the Sunshine, play the funky music. Last.fm, play the funky music. Casey and the Sunshine Band. Casey and the Sunshine Band. He's definitely got a lot of good residue for this. Why do so many people remember it as Casey and the Sunshine Band if it was never Casey and the Sunshine Band? I don't know. I am from the Wild Cherry part of the universe then. How fondly I recall the distinctive album cover. Red lipstick mouth biting into a cherry. Oh, I think that does sound familiar. But I wouldn't have been able to say that. Like, that's who's saying that, because I didn't buy it. These sheep are really cute. I wouldn't call. I don't know how you call it a Mandela effect because I don't know. They're called the Felis black-nosed sheep of Switzerland. I don't know why he shared it like they never existed. Those are like puppies, though. Those are really young. I think this is the one that I really wanted to save and talk about. Maybe. Or it was. Oh, let's just keep going down the list. Alright. I think I passed away, but also never said this before. Alright, hold on a second. I don't remember if I told my friend or not. We used to be best friends, but currently are not friends anymore. My choice. I'll call my friend Becky. So we were really close friends, and we ended up separating for a few years since I ended up going to a different school. We still keep in contact online, but weren't as close. I always thought we would be best friends till old age, but a few years ago, I decided to just cut contact from her for certain reasons. Moving on from that, I'm going to talk about my experience I had at 18. I'm also at work while making this with a raging headache. If there are errors or incomplete sentences, most likely the reason. Anyways, I was invited to her house at 18. I stayed a couple of times before. This time, she inviting me to smoke weed with her. I was always that girl that never wanted to smoke. I always found it stupid and didn't understand it. I was going through some things, so I decided, well, why not? We smoked at her garage around 9 p.m. She brought out this bong and put some weed and started puffing away. I believe I hit it about 6 times. Each time my throat was hurting terribly. Felt this dry, burning sensation. I remember telling her no more for me. She asked me if I felt anything. I said, not really, except the burning throat sensation. As we were walking up the stairs to reach the second floor to get into her room, halfway through the stairs, the floor starts spinning. I felt dizzy and my vision goes black. I hear a thud. I felt this warm sensation leaking out of my head. Oh gosh, this don't sound good. I still couldn't see anything, but felt like there was blood dripping out of my head. Oh my goodness. Next thing you know, I hear the ambulance, but I can't feel my body. I felt like I was just listening to what was going on. I hear the ambulance putting me in the car, and I hear the door closing. I hear noises in the background. It felt like they were speeding through the roads. Next thing you know, I hear them rushing me inside the hospital. I hear my siblings. It sounded like they were on both my left and right side while I'm in the stretcher. I hear crying and I hear my brother say, "What happened?" in an angry yet sad tone, which I haven't heard from him. I felt like I was somewhat back in my body and I start speaking. I hear crying and I hear them yelling at my friend. I start saying it's not her fault. It's not her fault. It was my decision. She didn't force me. Please don't get mad at her. I later hear a very loud beep sound. It gets quiet. I then feel like I can sense my legs, but not my upper body. As I was trying to get up, I feel as though half my body is laying on something, and I open my eyes to see that I am half laying on my friend's bed. As I somewhat get up, my friend helps me fully lay on her bed. I'm very confused as I swear I was in the hospital, but she lays me on her bed. My vision starts going crazy as everything is turning around me or repeating itself. Anyway, I start crying and praying to God. Even though I am not religious, that I won't smoke again. Long story short, my friend was beside me, taking care of me until I fell asleep. The next day, I felt pretty odd, and the energy in itself was off. I didn't notice any big changes, but sometimes I do wonder if I passed away and jumped into another parallel world. Just want to say, when my vision was black, everything I mentioned here didn't happen fast. It felt as though I was going in and out of my body. Sounds like you were really high. Honestly, I think you just got too high. I don't know. Never really felt blood leaking out of me. Yeah, anyways, I saved that one. Somebody thought they died, but they were on a
Okay,
substance, so.
this is the most excited I've been to reply to a comment yet. Okay, this connects to this weird conspiracy that's going around the place saying that the Large Hadron Collider at CERN is causing the Mandela effect. And some people are saying that proof of this comes from a CERN physicist wearing a Mandela sign in a video. So I found the video. It's this video. This video was recorded in like 2014, just before Christmas. And it's a bunch of people at CERN dancing around to the Pharrell Williams song Happy. So, why is this physicist wearing a sign that says Mandela? Is it an indication that CERN are actually causing the Mandela effect? I know the answer. I can tell you the answer. But I can actually do you one better. People of TikTok, I would like to introduce you to one of my favorite people, Professor John Ellis.
Hi, we at CERN are generally happy people. One of the ways we stay happy is every Christmas we have a Christmas pantomime. And one year it featured the theme of James Bond, and another year it featured Nelson Mandela. Because, like many people, we deeply revere Nelson Mandela as a hero of our time. End of story.
Okay, this is the most an indication answer. I would like to introduce favorite people.
Hi, we at CERN are generally happy people. One of the ways we stay happy is every Christmas we have a Christmas pantomime. And one year it featured the theme of James Bond, and another year it featured Nelson Mandela. Because, like many people, we deeply revere Nelson Mandela as a hero of our time. End of story.
And there you have it.
That seems so made up. It does not, you know, we've all been wanting to hear, like, what's the story behind that photo? Bond and Mandela. Okay, so that's the themes that they just chose. Yeah, right. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Plus, it kind of sounds like you can hear somebody laugh at the end of it. I don't know.
Hi, we at CERN are generally happy people. One of the ways we stay happy is every Christmas we have a Christmas pantomime. And one year it featured the theme of James Bond, and another year it featured Nelson Mandela. Because, like many people, we deeply revere Nelson Mandela as a hero of our time. End of story.
And there you have it. It's really just that simple. Thanks, John.
I don't know. What do you guys think? I don't know. Hey, cheers, Nitty Connect. I honestly do not believe this story. 6 bong ribs. Yeah. No, I didn't. I didn't really believe it either. But there's some better ones. I mean, you just got high and you don't smoke ever. Um, where am I at? Am I even in the right place? I think I'm in the. No, I was not. All right.
Okay.
This is weird. I think I tried to show it before. Ice cubes now can make like spikes if you just put like evenly uh water in the freezer. Like it can grow spikes like this. That is weird. I don't know if it's like an elevation thing or like because it's never happened to me. But let's see if they. It says just saw this on unexplained subreddit. Someone asking why their ice cubes froze with spikes sticking out of the top. Others commented it had happened to them recently as well. Others acted as if it was no big deal and happens all the time. I've never seen that. Has any of y'all ever froze ice cubes and just somehow spikes stick out of them? Uh, not me. You would think I've been around long enough to have at least heard about this before. And then here's the Wikipedia about it. Look, like here's somebody's bird bath. It's a natural process on the surface of a small bodies of frozen water have been reported for many decades. As of 2013, a number of photographs of natural spikes have appeared on the internet, as well as methods of producing them artificially by freezing distilled water in domestic refrigerators. So it's got to be distilled water for some reason. Wow, that's weird. This How does that happen? I don't know. I've never seen it before. Old Earth inhabitants were more romantic. Save this for some reason. Anyone else feel like humans have become excessively cynical about love compared to the pre-2012 world? I feel like there were more hopeless romantics and people's potential for love just felt deeper, men or women. What we now pathologize as anxious attachment, limerence, or even BPD, bipolar, or I always forget which. It's not bipolar, it's borderline personality disorder. Used to be considered as an expression of divine femininity. Femininity. I don't know. It wasn't gendered. Men had a softer, more caring energy too. Epic romances feel retro by nature. You just don't see them anymore. When you think of true love at first sight, soulmates, it all feels like a lost language. Yeah, I don't feel that way anymore. I don't feel like there's definitely like true loves and soulmates and all that. Those ideas don't really translate in today's world. They live on in old movies, VHS tapes, stories from a different timeline. I mean, it's a time that I did feel that way, but I've also been fucked over a lot. So we're living in the most avoidant and commitment phobic era yet. This world feels more transactional and interested, like some weird simulation of intimacy, reality TV vibes. Yeah, I do. I feel that. Anybody else like feel like there's just it's all it's transactional. It's like what can I get out of it? What 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 am I gonna have to give out of it? That type of thing. Okay, I think this is the main one I wanted to talk about because there's 107 comments and all of them are people sharing their own stories. Oh, that's pretty cool, Mandela Effect. People were hating. I hate the Mandela Effect for subreddit really because it's just. But someone found this in a game. Fruit of the Loom, Stofers, and the answers were underwear, cornucopia, I guess that says. Why is it? That's weird that it's like blurred out. This did not used to be blurred out. When I saved it, it wasn't blurred out. It almost looks like Kirk, but that was the cornucopia, apples and grapes. Restaurants, frozen foods, hotels was. Hold on. Yeah, why did it get blurred out? That's weird. It did not used to be blurred out. That is really weird. When I say this like 6 months ago. This from the game Advertising from 1991. That's about it's about guessing logos. The clues for Fruit of the Loom are underwear, cornucopia, apples, and grapes. Dude, who blurred this out? That is so weird. That did not used to be blurred out. I kind of want to comment. Oh, can not comment, of course. Evidence of a shit job done by a game creator. Yeah, people were hating on her. I thought it was great residue. And then I come back and it's all blurred out. does not even look like cornucopia at all. It's like commemorate, maybe. Dude, that's weird. That blurring out's weirder than the post. Anybody know any alternate? No. Okay, let's go back up. This one. This is what I really wanted to. I could probably talk for a long time about this one, just because there were so many, and I put my experience on here. I think I don't know where it went. All right, yeah, let's go back up to. Did you die in the old Earth timeline? I'm curious to hear about your testimonies and personal experiences. If there's one thing we can probably all agree on, it's that something brought us here, whether it was CERN, reality shifts, quantum immortality, or some event that tampered with the fabric of existence. For me, the paradigm shift happened in 2012. I was only 10 years old then, born in 2002, and yet I remember sensing something off about the world shortly after. By 2014, I was already feeling a strange, aching nostalgia for the era just a couple years before. That in itself is bizarre. Why would a child experience deep longing for a time they'd only just lived through? It feels like loss, like something has been taken away from us. I became obsessed with what I now think of as the older timeline, or the world as it was pre 2012. I hadn't heard of any internet theories back then, so I didn't have the vocabulary for what I was feeling. No Mandela effect or timeline shift talk. Just a deep lingering sense that something was off. I'd rather watch older media and TV shows and could feel that the world had subtly changed in just a few short years. It was a lonely experience because none of my IRLs understood it in real life's people. My sister just thought I was overthinking or stuck in my own head too much. Sometimes I wonder if I died in the OG timeline. One of my core memories from that summer of 2012 was me climbing a tall tree in my garden. I went all the way to the top, way higher than I probably should have, and fell on my way down. I remember the impact, the shock, the pain in my ribs. I think the bigger shock was just instantly realizing that I had escaped death because I should have been way more hurt. I can't help but wonder if I died in that moment and timeline. Maybe my family found my lifeless body at the bottom of that tree and my consciousness just transferred into this one, in this timeline. Or maybe one of many others. Can anybody relate to this? I swear I commented on this, but maybe it was a different one. And because it usually shows my like comments at the very top, I think. Yeah, let's change it to top. Best old. I don't know. Just put it on the newest ones. Alright. I never experienced retcons Mandela effects until after 2012 when I crashed my Porsche convertible top down going 155 miles per hour. It flipped repeatedly, and I remember thinking, this is how I'm gonna die. People who saw the crash and ran up to my destroyed car said they couldn't believe anyone was alive afterward. I had a tiny cut on one ear. I told the ambulance crews I felt fine and they left. My first odd sense was that night when I got home around 1 a.m. and my elderly mother was asleep, but I had this crushing sensation that my family was in a high state of agitation somewhere over my death. That it was happening in a different universe, the old one, and I was in a new one. I ignored that, but that's when the retcons Mandela started. In any of this multiverse timey-wimey ball simulation stuff, if any of this, stuff I hear about from astral folks has merit, I may not have even been in the same 2012 old Earth as most paranormal sufferers, but I may have died a lot. Almost everything that is coming up for me as a potential past life or anything more solid than a normal dream ends with me dying or violence and or suicide, usually very young. And most of these maybe memory sequences, adults tell me that I was born after a fairly recent global apocalypse, and the world around us clearly corroborates the claims. By comparison, this world is still pretty cozy, knock on wood, but I also feel very isolated here, and I don't know how much of my anxiety is due to real events or things I made up in my head for no reason. The oddest physical thing to have happened to me in this life was waking up in my bed feeling ice cold, and after a few moments of wondering why, I suddenly heard and felt my heart begin beating and blood rush to all my limbs at once. No idea what caused it, but that incident happened for some astral acquaintances already claimed I had frightened them by dying in my sleep and getting up hours later as if nothing had happened. I couldn't tell whether they were telling the truth, and I still can't, but I'm almost positive what happened to me that one night was medically abnormal. I have woken up ice cold a few times afterwards, but I haven't caught my heart restarting itself besides the one incident. I desperately want to find proof of what is real and what is only in my head, because if I ever had real lives in other versions of the universe, I need to get back to the people I was close to. I literally promised my partner in multiple worlds where the execution squad was closing in on us that I would meet him in another life, in the branch most similar to my current tangible life. It almost appears to have inserted itself in the middle of my current life and then taken itself back. I was happily married to a man who claimed to work for a real life Men in Black agency until one day he literally disappeared into thin air after frantically telling me he was dead all along and making me promise to escape no matter what. Without further context, that would be a huge if I could provide it to, if I could prove it to anybody else besides a dream. I hate this uncertainty. I feel like I owe my past loved ones the loyalty I explicitly vowed to them, and they owe me the basic courtesy of existing. Sorry they got so off topic, but I'm having a hard time reading. My eyes are like going all wonky. Yeah, I don't know if I should be reading this like with a white background and black lettering, but I've got the black turned on, so it's like it's messing with my eyes. Anyways, I wanted to share mine exactly, and I thought it would show up. Maybe it wasn't this one. It sounds like it was that one, though. Yeah, it had to have been that one. That's the last. Oh, this I kind of wanted to talk about this too. Have you ever felt this is in the chronic pain Reddit? Have you ever felt like God doesn't love you? uh, I don't mean to. I believe it. Why else will he do this to you? Actually, I had been a believer. I was and still am a good person. No alcohol, no drugs, no vulgarity. Tried to help donate to the less fortunate. I thought God's testing me. But after 6 years, I realized God's making it more and more difficult for me to the point I believe that might be a God. It's just he's not the most merciful or powerful. I also believe this type of test isn't a good idea for good people because a lot of them end up losing their belief in God. And for the bad people, if they're going through something horrible, they become even worse and wish ill upon others. Wow. It's a good point, right? It's I guess I don't know. Maybe nobody can understand if they're not in chronic pain, but and don't really know like what they did to deserve it. I think the majority of people with chronic pain aren't religious. They just see life for how fucked up it is. And government treatments of them and what they can or cannot take. I felt a lot more productive when I could take opioids before the so-called war on certain medications. Yeah, I definitely passed on my goddamn parade, metaphorically speaking. Pissed on my parade. I know people who believe usually actually. I know people who believe usually actually believe, but to me, when I was religious, didn't think God literally decides everything that happens. To me, it more so seemed like he built the foundation and then let everything go its own way. A bit like one of those idle games where you do everything to make everything automated and then just sit by and watch stuff happen. Yeah, I don't like it, that idea. I mean, it's possible, but I don't like it. This is deism and what the founding fathers mostly believed if they were religious. That's why they never prioritized the church and politics after it wouldn't make sense to combine them two. Because God is chilling somewhere. Personally, I don't see the point of a concept of God. Which God, right? Good point. Good point. Um, all right, I'm going to step out of this one for a minute. Go back to, is it this one? Oscar Mayer. Is that why I saved this one? Because it was Meyer, right? This has nothing to do with like Mandela effect. It's just mildly interesting. Oscar Mayer. So that's the way it was spelled, right? Meyer. And now it's Mayer. I think that's why I saved this. Right? I don't remember. Anyways, bacon grease doesn't congeal after 36 hours in fridge. Left versus Costco brand on the right. Huh. Alright, there's this one. I've got to take a break though. I'm like, my neck and back is hurting from staring up at the screen. I gotta figure something out to where I can lean back and not have to look up at the screen. I'll be right back though. Hopefully I can read some more. Some Reddits. Why not?
Did you see that shit? New Year's 22, broadcasted on Fox. 2-minute, 19-second mark. Wrong direction. All right, and watch. From the right side of the screen. Did you see that shit? All right, so watch. Back
Thing
it
was
up.
moving. Can't be a plane because it wouldn't be that low.
The fuck is that, man? Look at that shit. Excuse my language. What is that?
It's got to be a hologram or
I'm
something.
zooming in. Watch. That's insane. It is. Do it one more time. It's almost like there's a delay in it when it goes behind that.
Yeah, it goes right through it.
Oh, that's weird.
Man, I didn't know Dubai did it like that.
That's fucking.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year!
This is hilarious. It wasn't just TikTok, it was AI, wasn't it? I don't think it was real people that like convinced, but there was like thousands of people thinking they were gonna see a fireworks show at the Brooklyn Bridge, and so they sat there and counted down, and nothing happened.
Any second now.
Ain't no fireworks.
Where are they?
Did we get pranked? We got pranked.
I mean, the amount of people who are misinformed here.
What does this say about 2026?
It's not off to a good start.
That's crazy that somebody made a TikTok that was AI saying there'd be fireworks in New York and that many people showed up.
That's mean. Oh. Hey, Sal. Genevieve. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. I should look up Hoarfrost. I'm sorry, I can't read the comments while I'm reading, but yeah, let's look that up. What is Hoarfrost? Hoarfrost refers to white ice crystals deposited on the ground or loosely attached to exposed objects such as wires. I've seen this on windshields. Remember when I was sleeping in my car in the snow? That's what it looked like. But that's not. It's weird the way it like grows. It's like a fractal. But that's not like growing out of an ice cube. But maybe it is similar. Did I even share it? Yeah, I did. All right, so I've told this story quite a bit, and I thought it was in here. It's probably in here somewhere, but it usually shows the top comment, right? Like, I don't know what's the best comment's gonna be. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, I remember going off the road when I was drinking and driving. I was about like 18 years old, and I remember seeing the tree. Like, I went down a good little, I wouldn't call it a cliff, but it was an embankment, and it's probably a good 30-foot drop. But I remember seeing the headlights on the tree and thinking, like, this is it, it's just this is how I die. Same way like that one person was talking, like, this is it, and I was feet, my car headlights were like feet in front of that tree, and before I knew it, just snapped. Like, I was back on the road, like nothing ever happened. I don't have any like crazy story if I woke up into the hospital or, no, it was just like I was back on the road. Except I remember it took me like 30 seconds to like control the wheel again. Like I was in my body, I could see, and I was conscious of being like in the car, but I didn't have control over it or my body or anything. And I was in shock. But and I guess, easiest way to explain it is I just fell asleep at the wheel and I dreamt that I went off the road. Man, it was so real, and I'd never had anything happen like that before. Anyways, let's read a few more testimonies. You touched on many topics that I have thought about a lot. Many will tell you that, yes, you are dead, and that the old world is no longer accessible to you, but really, they don't know anything. I firmly believe this is not our place. They've taken more than just a land from us. They've taken our natural life, the one that belonged to us. Who's they? And now we are here in this dystopia that is the new world. Thank you so much for creating this topic. Reading it has given me so much peace. Do I have it on the best? What did I change it to? Best? I hate this. I should just put it on the newest. And any of this, I read that one. Okay. I've had similar thoughts. I've wondered, maybe this reality I'm currently living in is like a purgatory sort of existence. Maybe I died years ago and just don't realize it. And I've thought exactly as you think. Maybe I died years ago and my consciousness was somehow transferred to another timeline for some reason, or I'll never know. The more I read in this Reddit group, the more weirded out I feel. Again and again, I read these posts and think, I feel exactly the same way. I have thought exactly the same things. A very strange detail in my personal experience is the fact that when my now 26-year-old niece was just a toddler, she had a nightmare that me and my stepfather were killed in a car accident. But at that age, she didn't have any concept of what a car accident is or death. Oh, that is a good point. That is a really good point. So sometimes I wonder if maybe that wasn't a dream she had. Maybe I died in that car wreck in another timeline, and this nightmare, that is this new version of my niece had that night, was like a sort of hint that was being sent to me. Like some unseen force was trying to hint to me, you're dead. Wow. That's a really good point. I had this dream, in quotation marks, when I was a kid that I was going with my mom to a job interview, and like I was like I mean, this is one of my earliest memories, like earliest scary dreams. Um, and I had to have been like maybe 5, and it's hard to even like understand like what a job is, And I don't. How many people by the age of 5? How many people in black suits, like men in black, had I seen at 5 years old? And like, it's so strange. But anyways, I go to this like job interview, I guess, but it's behind like a Walmart, and it's weird. They sit down at this like one of those cheap fold up tables, and I guess they're doing their job interview or whatever, and I'm watching them, and there's like one of the men in black. They're wearing these like black suits and the one of them grabs my mom, and she's, I don't know, screaming, trying to get away or whatever. But the guy that grabs her just kind of like morphs, like covers her, and then like the other one like morphs into my mom, like these like shapeshifter, like I don't know. I had to have been like less than 5 years. I was probably like 4, 5 years old, but I don't know. How did I have the concept of? Anyways, one morphed into the shape of my mom, and one just like completely took over my mom, and I don't remember which one was the real mom, I guess. And they're both screaming at me like, "Yeah, I'm the real mom, like come to me." And I'm like, I don't know, which one do I choose? But like in my heart, like I just went with like what felt like was like the right choice, and I just run over and to the one that like, and it was so weird. Like even to this day, like 30, 40 years later, I remember like the feeling of like certainty and just like, oh yes, finally we're back together. I'm in your arms, and like, but then the split like terror of like, now I got you in the trap. Like, I don't know how like I even knew what a job was or why. Like, I don't know. It's weird. Dreams are weird. Life is weird. Um, I remember not being able to sleep very well because I was going through issues with my husband. I started seeing sparkles in the air around me. Oh shoot, I see those. It's usually just like one little sparkle though. My insomnia continued. I would lie on the bed, wide awake, until the morning. On that final day before the switch or my death, I remember lying on the bed in the bed with my eyes closed. I saw strange shapes, faces, colors that were different from the ones I had seen during meditation sessions in the past. I felt like I stared at the shapes for a while, never falling to sleep. When I opened my eyes, it was morning, and I could hear everything that was happening downstairs as if I was standing right next to my husband and my mom. Anyway, needless to say, things kept descending into madness, series after series of strange events, upside down crosses on churches, cannibals running rampant, and I had developed telepathy. I was assured that I had died, and what the hell? Well, that's the end of the story? What is that? That was weird. Just because you couldn't sleep, you had some crazy dream. I guess that's it, man. Dreams are crazy. They feel so real. It's so hard to tell. I think it was 2013. I got in a bad wreck. Someone ran a stop sign. I bounced off of them straight into a pole. I hit directly into my driver's side. It hit directly into my driver's side door. There was nothing left of the driver's side afterwards. It was so smashed in. Somehow my seatbelt ripped or something. I was wearing it, and I woke up in the middle of the car like I had been moved or pushed over to the middle. The odd thing is, my head hit the windshield from inside. The glass was busted on the windshield from the inside. My teeth were bleeding and crooked from hitting the steering wheel. My knee is still messed up to this day from impact and sitting too close to the dash. It was all so weird. Yeah, that's weird that you were wearing the seatbelt and somehow you woke up with it off. That's interesting. I remember having a ominous feeling, and then the news broke out that Michael Jackson died. Not sure if that event was related to the feeling, but I remember the specific day as an ominous reason for no reason known to me. Not sure if it was 2012 or before. Yeah, I'll never forget that day. I don't know. To me, maybe I was too young. I just didn't. Here it is. Here's my one that I was just telling you all about. I hit a tree drunk driving when I was 18, probably 2005 or so. Except in this timeline, I never did. I remember vividly going off the road down a steep bank and the headlights on a big tree trunk as wide as my car and thinking, well, this is it. Next thing I knew, I was back on the road and I didn't have control over my body or the wheel for a good 30 seconds in shock, like, what the fuck? I had no idea where I was. Trying to get to my friend's house. Somehow I made it there and passed out in the driveway, but I was drunk and I can see how explainable it is that I just fell asleep and dreamed that I went off the road, but no. Just no. Never had an experience like that since. I remember dying when I was 13 years old and when I was 19 years old. 13, I remember absolutely eating dirt and dying. I got 3 concussions by getting slammed into ice head first into the woods. My mom was like, "Go outside, you're annoying me." And I was like, "Guess I'll die then." And went and somehow managed to fall again and went, "Goodbye, world." That was 1997. I remember fading out and what happened after, and then I woke up at home sometime later. My mom was a different person. Like she doesn't even like old pictures. My dad, in quotation marks, also isn't my dad by genetic testing. I'm kind of like, did his son die? Am I a different one? He hates me. But I have all the memories, and I'm definitely the same person I was for my whole life. So I think I'm jumping rather than things changing around me. 19, I just should have died in a car accident, but those memories are more fuzzy. Happy Valley Girl 24 says, I wonder if I might have in summer of 2012. I tripped in my yard and was falling headfirst into the brick fire ring. I was carrying something and wasn't able to get my arms out in time to catch myself. My face and head almost smashed into the bricks when I was suddenly uprighted through no effort of my own. I sensed an otherworldly presence had intervened, which I felt at the time was my deceased grandfather watching over me. I do wonder if I did actually die then, as my life has taken a drastic negative turn since that time. The world seems off in some way, and I feel like I'm trapped somewhere I don't belong. My efforts to improve things don't make any difference. I don't want to be here anymore, yet I have an inner sense that I am not allowed to leave. Wow, that was a good one. Because I feel that way. Wow. Yeah. It's like you don't really want to be here anymore. Everything you try, like, it just feels like you're swimming against a current that is like just bashing you. You might make it like 2 inches up the river, but at the same time, you're getting knocked back 10 feet, and it's like, it's just a failing. Feels like a losing battle, really. I mean, so it really is for all of us, right? Like, eventually, like, I just shaved my beard, like, little mustache off today. I was just like, man, there's so much gray hair in there that I didn't realize, like, I was getting that gray. But I don't normally look in the mirror, so. Oh, and the last time I shaved. All right. Yes, I believed I switched to this timeline dimension after I died in a previous dimension. I was an adult, and I remember actually dying and my soul going back into my body as a teen in this timeline. So I think a lot of people may have died and ended up in another reality. This reminds me of the Bible verse, Revelations 9:6, that says, in the last days, people will seek death and will not be found. We're definitely in the last days. Maybe this is what the verse meant, because I definitely died as an adult. My soul left my body and went back into my body as a 14-year-old. Oh, what? Maybe a lot have died and just don't remember. Not to mention Mandela dying and somehow being alive again. Another lady on TikTok said she went to sleep as an adult, and when she woke up, she was 10 years old. She might have died in her sleep, and her soul went back into her 10-year-old body. Wow. Okay, I wish I could go back to my 10-year-old body. Do you still have the same memory? So I think this person, this Heidi, is 14 years old. Is that what I'm getting out of that? I guess I was reading some crazy stuff at 14 years old in some forums, but I don't know. Wasn't. I want to read it again because I don't understand. I was an adult, and I remember actually dying and my soul going back to my body. But so I think a lot of this. So, okay, this person doesn't describe how they died or anything. They just remember dying, and that was it. Like, what? What were you, 100 years old? I don't know. That was a little short. I agree with you. I died in 2016 with a fentanyl overdose alone in my car. No Narcan or bystanders. I can 100% relate to what you're saying. I call it quantum immortality. For me, it felt like God gave me a second chance. I experienced some weird stuff in 2017. Mandela effect flip-flops within short time periods. For the people saying 2017 glitches, I experienced the same in 2017. I watched things change and then change back to how I remembered them within days, weeks of each other. I watched it in split seconds. I turned around one time and I took the trash out from my work, turned around to put it in the trash bin, and I turned back around and that same trash can was full of trash again. And it was the first trash can that I went to that day. So I knew I only had one trash can and one trash bag, but there was two. I don't know where it came from. Anyways, um, back to Steven Jerkowitz. Nice name. If you haven't experienced anything like this, I wouldn't expect you to believe me. The Flintstones changed to Flynn Stones with no T. Kit Kat had a dash again. Hillary Clinton only had one L in her name. Yeah, I experienced all those except for the Flintstones ones. I didn't see that one. It must have flipped back so fast. But anyway, then just a few days later, everything switched back. All the Reddit threads on Mandela Effect group people had posted here all gone. I was not on any drugs during the time period of these changes. Crazy. I almost certainly died in 2011. I woke up thinking I was in hell. Nothing that has happened since then has convinced me otherwise. My first ME was 2016, and I had a few really strange experiences around that time. Too much to name, but the big one was observing the shift between the Sagittarius arm with the different light and different sun to the Orion spur where we are now. This also correlated with the organs changing, kidneys moving upward into my back, heart moving to the center, etc. Speaking of death, I have an eerie feeling of sinking into my head. An eerie feeling of sinking into your bed. Wow, okay. Sinking into my bed, and that I disappeared or everything changed around me around this time. It felt like a near-death experience, and it correlated with all the ME stuff I have pretty heavily. I had a few other strange experiences too. I saw a low-flying orb, and there was a hue of light emanating from a lot of objects at this time, like an aura. I also felt and experienced a mini portal like the jelly type thing from Donnie Darko. Oh, that's cool. Donnie Darko was such a good movie. I kind of want to give the second one a chance, you know? Like, I remember watching it back in the day and I was like, this sucks, but I have to give it another chance. Compared to the first one, I died Friday, October 27th in the house fire. I know that I did. Dude, you gotta share the story. Seriously, you can't just say that. I had a moment where I nearly died, but I was a socially awkward, reckless, and passively suicidal teenager, so with undiagnosed ADHD and autism, who had no impulse control, poor decision-making skills, and very little sense of self-preservation. It's not a stretch to imagine that one of the many stupid stunts I pulled might have gotten me killed in the old timeline. Dude, I did so much stupid shit. I'm sure everybody here has done some stupid thing when they were a kid that, like, they almost died, and then somehow we didn't. It's because our consciousness can't die, but I still wonder, like, that makes me wonder about the NPCs and stuff. Like, could there be other timelines where they're just, like, purely physical matter and there's no consciousness to them? And then so, like, when I jump, if I died and jumped into another, like, parallel timeline with me in it, like another parallel me, then I'd become animated, like, and I'd have the same memories and stuff, but because, like, that thing doesn't have any memories, that don't make sense. I don't know, man. Anyways, I'm gonna finish on. I remember attempting to jump off the roof of my house once just to see if I could. Didn't die, but it hurt a lot. I did that too when I was a kid. Me and my friend took trash bags, and we thought we could, like, parachute down the house off the roof with them, and no, it didn't work very well. I think it, like, started to open up, like, as soon as, like, I hit the ground. I remember it, like, just opening up, like catching some air right before I hit the ground. We do so much crazy shit when we're kids. We're invincible. I got in a skiing accident once where I attempted the Black Diamond slope as a complete novice and broke my leg. That could have been worse. When I started driving around 2013, I got in a number of minor accidents. Yeah, it's a miracle. Mm. In 2019, my husband and I had one car. We just moved to the area for his work. He works third shift, so I was taking him to work. On the way home, I was sitting at a red light where I live in Texas. There are parallel roads to the highways where there is an intersection. The highway is a bridge. At night, it's extremely difficult to see what's coming. When the light turned green, something inside of me told me to wait. This gut feeling of dread, a semi barrels through the red light. If I had gone when the light was green, I would have been T-boned. Yeah, I wait a second or two when a light changes now. Wow. That was the only time in my life that truly struck me as, did I just respawn? I not only died, but was born another person. Okay. But with dead person's identity and his memories. Does that make sense? Of course it doesn't. This happened when I was 12 years old. I looked at the dead child's old pics and told my mother, this is definitely not me. She tried to convince me that people's appearance may change during puberty, but I knew this wasn't the case. Lately, I am now 58 years old. We made a reunion dinner with a primary school colleagues, and they could swear I wasn't the kid they had been to school together, though. I could easily remember lots of things and the other kids lived through. The other kid lived through. I could easily remember lots of things the other kid lived through. Oh, wow, that's weird. Sounds like a combined consciousness. Or maybe like they jumped into an NPC or something that like didn't really have consciousness but had memories. Weird. Anyway, I'm jumping back to Angels Don't Fall. How you doing? Sal, you guys are waiting for the pain pills to kick in too? Yeah, I wish. How's everybody doing? I'm just gonna. I'm tired of reading, but I would like some feedback if I'm okay at reading. If I'm okay to like listen to, you know. Because I would like to do it more. It's just kind of. It's tiring. It really is. But here's the link if anybody wants to come in and tell me their story, where they think they might have died or something sometime. It's in the chat there, the live chat. I want to read more, but I really am tired. It's hurting my eyes. Read one more. I've got a few of very close near deaths because of breathing issues during sleep apnea. I've been pushed out of body during these experiences, and I could not come back until I was feeling better. I don't remember the years because I always had issues during sleep. They got better over time. If I sleep on a side, it doesn't happen. So I don't exclude anything. I read a lot about quantum immortality, but it seems pretty weird. I've lost a few young friends, and I have to respect the idea that everyone dies, especially in their memory, and for who I loved that are not here anymore. That everyone dies, especially in their memory. And for who I loved that are not here anymore. What does that mean? Especially in their memory. Honestly, it's not here the place I want to be in when it's going to be my time. I don't know if I died, but I know I don't belong here. Wherever here is, planet, timeline, this body. I've known it for quite some time. I'm 51, and I think it was around age 38. I used to pray that I'm in a deep coma, a derp coma. I'm in a derp coma, and I'm going to wake up soon. Earth itself is in a different location in the galaxy. No one escaped the shift. Nobody escaped the shift. I really do believe some people just refuse to see what's going on. It's like an episode of The Twilight Zone. My earliest memory of a change was mirrors not saying objects may be closer than they appear. Then saying change to are closer. The saying change to are closer. But there's residue, like a famous song called Objects in the Mirror. Yeah, we know. Feels like everyone died in 2020. On December 21st, 2012, I was in a near fatal car accident driving home in sleet and winding, crunchy roads late at night. I slowed down to not hit 3 deer in front of me. Unfortunately, a massive buck I hadn't seen came charging from the left side of the road and hit my car so hard it spun around 3 to 4 times before launching off the side through about 70 feet of trees and sent me slamming into the cement base of a mailbox at a nearby house. Wow. I don't know if it's from becoming permanently disabled and losing a lot of my mobility from the accident, or if I actually did die. Funny enough, on the exact day of the Mayan calendar, and got brought here. Oh, well, he had his accident right on the exact day of the Mayan calendar. Was that December 12th, 2012? Yeah, as he said. No, it was December 21st. I only know I've never felt the same since. When I woke up in my car after the accident, I had the distinct sense I was already dead. But I still pushed my dislocated joints back into place and crawled out of my now taco-shaped car because it was smoking and sparkling. Life has felt very unreal since. Darker, foggier, sun wrong, sky wrong. It's just not right. I don't know the truth. I have had many, many other NDEs before that. None felt so final and altering as the one in 2012, though. Wow. All right. I guess, how long have I been on here? It's an hour and a half. I could be a reader. Thank you, angels. I will really appreciate that feedback. And especially if I like edit, right? You know, if I'm just recording them and I can cut out where I screw up reading and stuff. But I just love reading these stories. I love hearing other, you know, either Mandela effect or glitch in the matrix. Glitch in the matrix is a big one. So I think I'm going to try it. I don't know. Anyways, thanks everybody for being here. I'm going to be on my Discord just chilling so I don't feel like pressured. Maybe play some games or something. So if anybody wants to come over to my Discord, I think you're probably already a member, and that's where I'll be. So All right. Have a good night. If I don't see you, talk to y'all again. Cheers.